What's up, everybody? This is Michael at Fouch Fabs. Today I'm going to show you how to make a template. A template is one of the most important things you do in any granite job. We have to drive out to the customer's house. Some people use 1/8" Luan. We use sign material here. We recycle ours so that we don't have to buy it all the time. Basically, it's a mold of the cabinets that we can lay on the stone and cut from. A template is basically our Bible. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what you do to make a template. And I've already made the templates for this cabinet here. I've also made a full height backsplash template for this. So I'm going to show you how I made it, how I laid it out, and then I'll show you what the actual templates look like on top of it. Also, I've already cut the stone that goes with those templates, so we'll take you back here to the saw and show you what the stone looks like after we've cut it to the template. So here we go. First thing you're going to do is get a piece of material. You're just going to lay it on the cabinet. It's real simple. You want to have your tape measure or a level, square, something so that you can get your 1.5" measurement from. I've already measured this, so I know it is 1.5". I'm going to mark my square right there. So you're going to want to check it and make sure you got your 1.5". You're going to want to bring a piece to the other side here. If you've got a square and you keep it marked, you don't have to use a tape measure every time you make a template. So we're going to pull this square on this. Want to make a mark here on our 1.5". Put the square on it so we've got a nice straight cut. Just like that. You want to have a hot glue gun. So what we're going to do is put a few little dabs on the wood here so that it holds our template material in place. So we'll hold that one there. That one's held in place. This one here, however, standard overhang is 1.5" on any cabinet, unless customer specifies otherwise. Once you make that 1.5" mark, you're just going to cut it off. Razor knife, pair of scissors, whatever you prefer to use. My wife, Melissa, does all of our templates here. So I'm not usually the one doing it. She might have a different technique, but this will get you where you need to be. So I pulled my 2.5" measurements here. I'm going to mark this cabinet right here so that I know where to put that back once I put my glue dots on it. So I'm going to pop a glue dot here, glue dot here. I'm going to line it back up to my red marks. I'm going to double check, make sure I got my 1.5" overhang, 1.5" overhang, 1.5" overhang, and I do. So now we want to make a piece for the back. You're going to lay that across the back. You're going to take your marker, make a line on that back side there, and we're going to cut that. That fits back there. So now you're going to put a good amount of glue, because these templates, they're going to be on the saw with water. Your installers are going to move them around. Your fabricators are going to move them around. So you want to make sure you got plenty of glue so it stays together real well. Now you want to make your front piece. So you know you've already got your 1.5" overhang here and here. So all you've got to worry about is this piece right here. So we're going to make another red line there. I'm going to cut it. It is a lot easier with a pair of industrial scissors rather than a razor knife, but when you install and fabricate, you've always got a razor knife and tape measure on you. You don't always have a set of scissors on you. We have had a hell of a week here. My wife, on her way back from a template, got in an accident and totaled her template vehicle. So I can link some pictures of that up so you guys can take a look. I actually caught it on dash cam as well, so we could link that up also. So now we've got the actual structure of the top that's going to go on here made. Any edge that gets polished, any kind of profile on it, you want to put X's. So we're going to put X's. This right here, this corner, you don't want a sharp corner in case kids are running by, they hit their head on it, or even adults walk by, if they catch their hip or something on it, it's going to hurt if you leave it sharp. So we usually put a 3/4 radius unless the customer asks us to put a 3" or something else. We know this is going to be polished because it's open. We're going to put a couple X's here. We know this is a wall. If we're going to get backsplash, we're going to want to document that on here and document this on here. So we'll put wall. In this case, I made it full height backsplash because this is my showroom and I want my customers to see. So we would put full height backsplash, full height backsplash. You're going to want to put the name of the customer on here. In this case, it's showroom. You want to put what edge profile you're going to put on here. I like to have a couple different kind of markers, so we'll say eased edge on this. And then I templated this to miter, which some people call it a waterfall, so we'll put miter here. Basically, you just want to document everything on this template. The only thing left to put on here is the color of the material. So just say we want, going to use white G, and it's small enough to where we can use a remnant. So we'll put remnant. Now your saw guy, your fabricators, your installers have everything they need to know to make this top right. So after you're finished, you just pop those little dabs of glue that you put on earlier off, and you got a nice solid template. If your saw guys and fabricators make this exactly how the template is made, when your installers take it out there and they set it on, it's going to fit perfect. So I've already made these templates, so I'm going to show you kind of what the full height templates and the mitered edge and all that looks like. They're a little wet because, like I said, we cut them. This is the one that goes here. I'm sorry, this one goes here. So we've got our X's here that tell us it's polished. It says floor down there. It says wall right here. And it says miter, add 1¼ inch. With a mitered edge, it has to stick up over this 1¼ inch, the thickness of the stone, so that they can bond together perfectly. So it's very important that you write that on there, and you write it in a different color of everything else so your saw guy sees it. This one here is the one I just made. Showroom, 1 of 3, which I only made 1, so I would have put 1 of 1. Like I said, my wife normally does these. 1 of 1. So we've got 1 of 3 on here. This one's going to go right on top of that. Pretty close. Then we've got this one here, which goes to the back. So we've got -1¼ inch. The reason that is when we make this top here and we put it on there, that top is 1¼ inch to 1 3/16 inches thicker than this is. So we got our finish point here. That sticks outside the cabinet. That lets our guys know that that's going to have to be polished. Now she put an X here, but I like to put one there also. And then you're also going to want to put a 3/4 radius there to let the guys know to make a 3/4 there. It's going to get polished all the way down. We're going to subtract 1 1/4 here. It says cabinet up there, showroom, 3 of 3, and the wall. This is to this side over here. This also says subtract 1 1/4 because the stone's going to go all the way to the wall. It's going to be 1 3/16 to 1 1/4 thick. So we're going to have to cut 1 1/4 off of this so that we're not too long when we go to install. So, it says it goes to countertop, showroom 2 of 3, gets polished up there, cabinet, stone. That's basically how you make a template. That one's a little bit intricate. The first one we did, it's pretty simple. Now we're going to walk back here to the saw, and I want to show you, we got every one of these pieces except for one already laid out and cut on the saw. So I'll show you what it looks like on the saw after we've cut it. Alrighty, these are the templates that I just showed you back there. We have made our way into the saw room. My saw guy, before I sent him home today, he got 3 of these cut. We haven't got the angled piece for the full height backsplash on the side yet. But we're trying to save on overtime, and it's Friday. The guys like to go home early, so. All right, this one here is the piece of full height that goes behind the actual flat piece that I showed you how to make. So it goes right there. Sammy is good at putting the X's on it so that my fabricators know. If you see here, it says minus 1 1/4. It's in black, it's not in a different color, so Sammy did not see that. So that will have to be cut off 1 1/4. This one here is our piece that goes to the floor and comes up and miters into this piece here. And as you can see, the add 1 1/4 is in bright green, which is different than everything else on here. So anyway, with the template, you're able to line everything back up. And even though I didn't pay attention to which ones came off of where, you can see as it's a template, I was able to, after a few tries, get it lined back up the way it was supposed to be. So then they will go from here into the shop where the fabricators will cut it. They always check the templates to the top. Then they'll polish it, put the radius on it, cut it. Then or polish it, cut the radius. Then the installers, when they load it on the A-frame, they'll check it, quality control it, clean it off. Sometimes we seal it before we leave here. Load it on the A-frame. Then they'll take it to the house. Me, always take my templates on my install with me. That way, if I run into a problem at the house, I can set my set my template on the cabinets at the install and find out if my problem is from my template, from my fabricators, from my saw guy, or if the customer has changed something with their cabinets. It alleviates any question of where the problem occurred. Templates are by far the most important thing on a job. Nobody can do their job correctly unless the templates are done right. So that being said, and showing you guys all this, and the first one we went over, you should be able to make any simple basic template, and you know the process of where it goes from making it to the saw to the fabrication station. Next week I think we're going to make a video on how to do a flat polish and an eased edge, and we'll have some other videos coming up. If you guys have any questions or any videos you'd like to see, just leave us a comment, and thank you.